You work overtime, you skip vacations, and yet, come payday, the wallet's still empty. You diligently save up, but then some emergency comes along and your savings disappear. Again, it can feel like, no matter how much you earn, it's never enough. Your paycheck barely covers your expenses, if that, and before you know it, it's payday again, and you're back at square one. Does this story sound familiar? Welcome to MoneyBuilt. Today, we're going to talk about the real reason why hardworking Filipinos stay broke. If you're new here, hi, I'm Vince. I am a part-time economist and full-time content creator. And if you're looking for ways to grow your money, build your wealth, and achieve financial freedom, then this is the channel for you. So hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. The first reason why many hardworking Filipinos stay poor is that we often think that sipag at tiyaga is a money strategy. Well, in my opinion, this couldn't be further from the truth. Sipag at tiyaga is admirable, yes, but it's just not enough. To earn more, to progress more, we need systems, we need frameworks, we need processes that will allow us to multiply our efforts. The problem is, when we are brought up with the mentality of bahala na sipag, we learn to rely on luck or fate rather than building robust financial systems around us. Here's what I mean. Let's take the people, Ben and Joe. Ben works hard in his job as an accountant. He earns 30,000 pesos per month. He religiously tracks his expenses and cuts down on unnecessary costs. That means eating out less, skipping the mall, buying secondhand books instead of new ones, etc. Basically, he does everything right. And yet, even with all his efforts, by the end of the month, his bank account would look something like this. Joe also works in accounting and earns the same amount as Ben. His expenses are also similar. However, Joe is always thinking about maximizing his time and resources. He reads books on personal finance, goes to seminars, and invests in tools that automate his work. Instead of spending his free time watching Netflix, he spends it learning new skills that he could monetize. He might start with something small like baking and selling cakes, or creating and selling digital products online. Or maybe he'll invest his money in stocks or crypto. With these additional streams of income, Joe is able to improve his life significantly. He upgrades his phone, gets a better apartment, takes nice vacations, all while maintaining a healthy emergency fund and investing for his future. Both Ben and Joe work hard. They have similar expenses and similar discipline, yet they end up with very different outcomes. Why is this? Simply because Joe builds systems to amplify his effort, whereas Ben relies solely on his daily hustle. Now, if you're thinking that working harder is the answer, I say check the math. Here are 5 money traps most Filipinos fall into when they work hard but don't see any financial progress. Trap number 1, lifestyle inflation. Have you ever heard of the phrase, the more money you make, the more money you lose? This is especially true in the Philippines, where a higher salary bracket often comes with higher taxes and more perks, which may or may not be beneficial. For example, getting a promotion may result in a bigger house, a nicer car, and other look. While these perks may seem nice at first, they can quickly become a burden. A bigger house means more bills to pay. A fancier car means more maintenance and more fuel to buy. These extra expenses can eat up your entire raise and prevent you from saving anything at all. Many Filipinos fall victim to this trap because we tend to be very impulsive with our spending. We want to upgrade our lifestyle as soon as we get a raise, regardless of whether or not it's sustainable in the long run. No emergency fund. One of the biggest reasons why so many Filipinos struggle financially is because they don't have an emergency fund. An emergency fund is basically a safety net of sorts. It's a pool of money that you can turn to when unexpected expenses arise, such as medical bills, car repairs, or job loss. Having an emergency fund is crucial because it gives you a buffer between you and financial disaster. It allows you to handle life's curveballs without going into debt or dipping into your long-term savings. Unfortunately, most Filipinos don't have an emergency fund. A study by Bangko Sentral and Filipinas found that only 10% of non-salaried individuals and 38.4% of salaried individuals had any type of savings at all. And even among those who do save, their emergency funds are often woefully inadequate. On average, Filipinos only have enough to cover 1.1 months of living expenses. This is far below the recommended 3 to 6 months of living expenses that experts say you should have in your emergency fund. Without an emergency fund, you're constantly at risk of falling into debt whenever something unexpected happens. And when you're in debt, it can be really hard to dig yourself out, especially if you don't have the financial education to manage it properly. Speaking of debt, that's trap no. 3. Utang mentality. Debt can be a useful tool if used correctly. For example, taking out a mortgage to buy a house that you intend to rent out can be a good way to grow your wealth. On the other hand, debt can be devastating if you're not careful. The average Filipino has a debt-to-income ratio of 63.9%. This means that almost 2/3 of their monthly income is allocated towards debt repayment. This situation can be disastrous since you basically spending more than you earn and are stuck in a cycle of debt. When you borrow money, you're essentially sacrificing your future income to pay for current expenses. This can limit your ability to save and invest in your future, which can affect your long-term financial well-being. A big part of the problem is that Filipinos are often not taught how to properly manage debt. As a result, many of us end up taking on more debt than we can handle. The fourth trap, wrong money priorities. A lot of us were raised with the bahala nasi Batman mindset. This attitude can be problematic when it comes to money. For example, imagine that you have 10,000 pesos in your bank account, and you need to pay 5,000 pesos for a hospital bill. In this situation, you might be tempted to withdraw 10,000 pesos from your savings account to cover the expense. However, with the bahala nasi Batman mentality, you might find yourself withdrawing the 10,000 pesos, even if you have other bills to pay or financial obligations to meet. Before you know it, your bank account is empty and you're scrambling to make ends meet. When we have the bahala nasi Batman mindset, it's easy to lose track of our finances. We might start spending impulsively or taking on unnecessary debt. Before we know it, we're trapped in a cycle of poverty. The bahala nasi Batman mentality can also cause us to miss out on opportunities. For example, imagine that you're considering starting a business. You have a great idea and you know that it has the potential to succeed. However, you're worried about taking the risk. What if the business fails? You might think to yourself, bahala nasi Batman, and decide not to pursue your dream. When we have this kind of mindset, we're essentially giving up on our financial dreams. We're settling for a life of mediocrity when we could have had so much more. And finally, trap number 5, wrong money priorities. We live in a society where we constantly bombarded with messages telling us to buy the latest gadgets, designer clothes, and luxury cars. However, these material possessions often come with a hefty price tag that many Filipinos can't afford. When we prioritize these material things over our financial stability, we're essentially setting ourselves up for financial ruin. Instead of focusing on building a strong financial foundation, we're wasting our money on things that will quickly depreciate in value. This is not to say that you shouldn't enjoy your money. After all, life is all about balance. However, it is important to prioritize your financial well-being so that you can enjoy your life without worrying about money. So there you have it. Those are the 5 money traps many hardworking Filipinos fall into. Now you might be thinking, okay, I'm guilty of this, I'm guilty of that. So how do I break free? What do I do now? Working more won't help. There's a limit to how many hours you can work per day, per week. There's also a ceiling to how much you can earn in your current job. To earn more, you need leverage, not just labor. Leverage means being able to generate more income with less effort. You can do this by investing in things like stocks, bonds, or real estate. You can also leverage your time by automating your finances. Use tools like budgeting, apps, investment platforms, or bill payment services to help you manage your money effectively. Lastly, you can leverage your knowledge by educating yourself on personal finance and investing. The more you learn, the better equipped you'll be to make smart financial decisions. Let me leave you with this. You're not failing because of lack of effort. You're just missing the roadmap. Grab your guide. You can download it for free. 10 Steps to Grow Your Money. Plus, I've added a special bonus section specifically for those earning a low income. Link is in the description box below. Hit that like button, comment down below. If you found this helpful and share this with someone who might benefit, follow MoneyBuilt PH because you deserve more than just survival. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.